What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. It's Riley here. And yes, I know it has been far too long. It has been a long wait and intermission, I guess you could say, since my last video. But I have decided I've taken a long break. A lot of things have been going on recently, and I do apologize for taking a little break from YouTube for any of you who do keep up with me. But I hope to be back for the long haul here on YouTube. Like I said, some things did come up in the recent past. I did take a little break from YouTube because I felt like it was best for me to kind of regroup and try to get everything back together with being at school. But I've decided I've took enough time off. I am hopping back onto the grind here on YouTube, and I'm hoping you guys are going to enjoy it as much as I do for any of you who still do keep up with me. I might make another video in the near future explaining in detail what really happened and telling you guys about why I took a break. But we're not going to talk about that anymore. That's in the past. So without further ado, in the first video today, I'm going to be hopping into a NBA agree or disagree video. Now, thinking about in my recent memory, I don't think I ever did an NBA agree or disagree video here on this channel. So I'll just explain it for you guys a little bit in detail. Basically, it's very self-explanatory. I basically take any question or any topic off of an Instagram page called NBA Confession. It is a great page. I will leave the link to it down in the description below. You guys should check it out. It is a great page to follow. But basically on that page, they have a ton of scenarios, a ton of questions that you can go through and answer yourself. So basically, I'm going to be going through as many as I possibly can in a short amount of time and answering them for you guys. And you guys can comment down below what you think of my opinions and leave your opinions as well. So without further ado, we're not wasting any more time here. I've talked enough already in the beginning of this video. Let's get straight into it. Alright, the first one right off the bat that I'm taking from their very most recent post is Cleveland Kyrie is better than Boston Kyrie. Now, okay, I wouldn't go as far to say that Cleveland Kyrie was a better player than Boston Kyrie, but the situations in Boston compared to what he had in Cleveland are very switched up. They're very different, and it can definitely bring out the difference in a player and their type of play. Like, obviously, you guys do know in Cleveland, he had LeBron and Kevin Love by his side. Now, I'm not saying he doesn't have any help in Boston, but in Cleveland, as he stated with the reasoning of why he left, he wasn't the leader. He didn't have all of the pressure on him to lead his team to success. All of that was on LeBron in Cleveland. And with LeBron taking the heavy load of the Cleveland Cavaliers team with Kyrie Irving, I mean, he did put up some insane numbers when he was in Cleveland, but like I said, he didn't have the load of carrying a team and being the leader on the team, which again is why he left for Boston. I think the only reason that people are saying that Cleveland Kyrie was better than Boston Kyrie is because now in Boston, they're not doing too well right now, even with all the talent that they have on their team. And he isn't putting up the same numbers, I guess you could say, that he did in Cleveland on average, but that is also because, again, the Boston team is so much more loaded all the way around the team that he doesn't get all the touches that he did in Cleveland. As you remember, Cleveland was basically a three-man show for most of the time. So I would have to disagree with that one, that Cleveland Kyrie is not better than Boston Kyrie, although it may show it from time to time. I don't agree with that statement. Okay, next up, if Rose was the first option in the same system as James Harden, he would easily average 23 to 25 points per game. You know, honestly, thinking about that off the top of my head, I really do agree with that statement. I think that Derrick Rose, if he was the star player of, like, say, the Rockets, if him and Harden were just completely flipped, and I mean, some players here and there were mixed around in that lineup, that Derrick Rose definitely would be putting up 23 to 25 points per game. The only thing I'm scared about is obviously that Derrick Rose is very injury prone, and it's very obvious to everyone that watches the NBA. But I feel like if you gave him that same amount of shots, that same amount of touches on the ball per game that James Harden gets, which is absolutely ridiculous, that Derrick Rose would be able to put up 23 to 25 points per game if he was in that situation on the Minnesota Timberwolves where he got all the touches, put up all the shots. I feel like he's proven to everyone this year that he is back. Now, I don't want to say back like MVP D-Rose because that will never be brought up again, but he is back to a level where he has proven himself to the league that he can still play, and I love seeing that so much. I'm a huge Derrick Rose fan. A lot of people are. It's just great to see a story like that and to see him succeeding in the NBA again. All right, next up is the Warriors saved Michael Jordan's title as the GOAT. Now, this is going to be completely biased, I'm sorry, but I didn't grow up watching MJ. I'm only 19 years old. I did not grow up watching any Michael Jordan playing in the NBA. I only grew up watching LeBron, and for the first half of his career, I did not like LeBron. I'm not going to lie. I was not a fan of him. I hated him, actually. But all of a sudden, like a couple years back, it just clicked. It just clicked in my mind when LeBron James and the Cleveland Cavaliers came back from down 3-1 and knocked off the Golden State Warriors in the 2016 NBA Finals. it was in that very moment where I flipped a switch in my mind, and I was like, wow, I love this guy. Like, ever since that moment, I have been a die-hard LeBron fan. I absolutely love watching him play basketball. I can't imagine the NBA without him anymore. So it's always going to be biased in my personal opinion that LeBron James, unless someone else surpasses him later in my lifetime watching basketball, LeBron will be the greatest of all time in my opinion. In my opinion, he's already got it. Like, I'm not comparing on rings-wise. Like, rings-wise, obviously Jordan has that with a 6-0 record. I mean, you can keep comparing for hours if you really wanted to. Obviously, you can say what you want about this argument about who the GOAT is, but in my opinion, I don't think the Warriors held up Jordan's title as the GOAT. I think that's still very up for grabs between LeBron and MJ. We just have to see what LeBron does for the rest of his career. Alright, here's an interesting one. NBA officials should start receiving fines for obvious bad calls. Alright, now I'm not sure if this is really up for debate between a lot of people. I don't know if a lot of people are saying that they should receive fines for making bad calls. But, I mean, honestly, I'm not a fan of when people bring up the argument of how NBA officials and, like, NFL officials should get fired in certain situations if they do make a bad call. I mean, yeah, people make the argument all the time, like, it's their job, they shouldn't mess it up that bad. But, I mean, you have to be thinking about it, like, on the grand stage of an NBA or NFL game, depending on whether it's playoffs, Super Bowl, NBA Finals, no matter what it is. Like, dude, nobody's perfect. Like, everyone has to accept that people are going to make mistakes at their job. Like, at any other job, I wouldn't think if you make a mistake that you would get fined for it. I mean, granted, yeah, the NBA is a much bigger stage than what a typical, like, office job would be. But still, I mean, every time I think about it, when someone makes a bad call or someone makes a bad foul call or anything like that, I just think that nobody's perfect. Like, we have to accept that. People are going to make mistakes at their job. It's going to happen. It's inevitable. So personally, I would have to disagree with that. I don't think that they should get fines for making bad calls. But again, that's just my personal opinion. If you guys have any arguments to these opinions of mine, don't be afraid to leave your comments down below. I really want to hear what you guys have to say about these. Alright, here's another one for the video here today. Giannis needs to have a deep playoff run to solidify himself as a top 5 player. Now, in case any of you do not know, I do live in Wisconsin, so yes, I am a Milwaukee Bucks fan. I'm a huge Milwaukee Bucks fan. And personally, like, as much as I love to say that Giannis is already a top 5 player in the NBA, I do kind of agree with this statement. Because, like, I'm trying to be as unbiased as possible when giving this explanation, and compared to what else I have argued about top 5 players or top 10 players in the NBA, I do consider how far they make it in the playoffs when putting them up there in that ranking system. So, it is only fair to say that I do agree with this and say that Giannis needs to have a deep playoff run to solidify himself as one of the best players in the NBA. Because being a best player, you need to have that clutch gene, you need to have that gene to lead your team and get them far in the playoffs. So far in his career, I mean, he hasn't really had the players around him to do anything like that, but he hasn't done it yet. However, this year I feel like is the year that they either make it to the Eastern Conference Finals or even the NBA Finals for that matter. I absolutely love watching the Bucks this year. I believe they're like 33 or 34 and 12 as I make this video. They are the top team in the NBA right now. I could not be happier watching them play. It is insane. The new head coach in Budenholzer, the signing in Brook Lopez, just the whole team all the way around. It's built to make it to a championship. It's just a bummer that I already know who's going to win the NBA Finals. It's obviously the Golden State Warriors, so that kind of ruins it. But even seeing the Bucks make it to the Finals would just be amazing. I would be content with seeing the Bucks make it to the NBA Finals. That would be insane. But in the end, yes, I do agree with that statement. He does need to make a playoff run to solidify himself as a top 5 player. Alright, I'm thinking this is going to be the last one for the video today. And it is, if the Raptors had one more All-Star, they would be capable of knocking off the Golden State Warriors in a potential NBA Finals matchup. Honestly, after thinking about this, I kind of do agree with that statement. Like, I mean, you can say what you want about the regular season matchups, but in the regular season matchups, it did show that the Raptors were hanging with the Warriors, and one game they absolutely destroyed the Warriors in Oracle. Granted, both teams were missing some players, but I mean, still, you take it for what it is. The Raptors were clearly hanging with and beating the Golden State Warriors for a fair amount of time in the 2 times they already played this season. So I would think if you add one more of the like 20 All-Stars that get chosen every single year, if you add one more All-Star to the Raptors, I feel like that series would go 6, if not 7 games, like, being completely honest here. Like, I'm not going to choose any one of the All-Stars and throw them into the Raptors and just, like, see what would happen. But, like, if you chose one of the top 20 players in the NBA right now, threw them on the Raptors, you would have a really good series. I mean, granted, if that even happened in the finals, I think maybe they could take it to 6, but the Warriors would still obviously outright win right now. But you give them one more, I say that series goes at least 6 games guaranteed. That's just my opinion. Again, leave your comments if you think otherwise. But without further ado, I think that's going to wrap up the first video back on my channel in the NBA Agree or Disagree video. I'm hoping you guys really did enjoy it. I'm really happy to be back into the YouTube grind. It feels really nice to be making my first video back, and I'm hoping you guys are going to enjoy it. So if you did enjoy, please make sure to show your support with a thumbs up. It truly means the world to me when you guys do that. But I think that's all I have to say right now. Again, I thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you stick around, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.